I've been writing a story called John and Crane, and I'd like to read part of it out loud to you. Okay. Over 48 years, there was a man. His appearance really isn't that important. You probably wouldn't remember it anyway. Though sometimes an entity without a given physical body is more powerful than a description, giving it an element of power and the need to not have a body, face, or a name. At least that's what John thought. John did not think that he was extraordinary. John was a 33-year-old man who had no friends. He taught high school algebra for 12 years to a slow group of students lacking the will to learn and an interest in graphing coordinate pairs. John sometimes wondered why he even taught it. But he pushed those thoughts away. They brought problems and confusion, something John felt he did not need. He had a set schedule that prevented him from doing anything creative. He liked it that way. He was never sick, never late, never unhappy. But John was never happy either, and it didn't bother him. He did not know it, but when he slept, he cried. He cried almost every night for 30 years or so. Not loudly or anything, that would wake his cat. But always slow, sorrowful tears slipped down sideways from his unimportant face onto his bleach-white pillowcase. John wanted something more, but he did not know that he did, until he met Crane. Crane sold flowers. Crane rode a bike. Crane went to peace protests. And it just so happens that John met Crane at one of these protests. John had not intended to be at the protest at all. He preferred not making a ruckus. He liked quietly petitioning if he felt something was wrong. John liked things calm, the same, and in patterns. Patterns were his favorite. He could go on and on with his patterns. Patterns like how many stairs he went up in a day. Left foot up to middle stair of step A, right foot up to edge of step B, skipping the second stair. Or tapping his pencil quietly in a musical beat, very softly when his students took tests. Or clicking his teeth and tongue as he chewed strawberry apple-flavored gum. Patterns made John feel like there was a point in life. He did not know that was how he felt about it. He did not know that everything he did revolved around patterns, and he did not know that they were even happening. They were automatic. So when John decided to take a walk in his free time in a downtown park, he started to count the steps he took, how it sounded as his shoes patted the cobblestone path. He synchronized his steps to his breathing, every 3 steps a new breath. Every rustle of his khaki pants fit along with rhythmic feet skidding the stones, every soft chewing of his 11 banana-flavored gum pressing up against his unimportant, unindividual, and imperfect teeth. His pattern went on for a while, longer than he had previously planned. John walked the path for 6 miles, lost in his unending and unvarying pattern, lost in his winding mantra of walking, staring blankly ahead, thinking of nothing, until he bumped into her. Crane was another slightly generic face. It was on the pretty side, but that said nothing about her personality. John wanted nothing to do with this pattern-interrupting woman with a lovely peace sign blazing across her brow. He wanted nothing to do with that soft, wavy chestnut hair pulled back in a loose and carefree braid. He wanted nothing to do with those stark, sparkling, ice-blue eyes that surveyed him with mild annoyance. He wanted nothing to do with her at all, but he still stood there. "Sorry," he said. "Are you really?" she sarcastically muttered. "No, but it's okay. You won't remember this interaction anyway." "Who says I won't?" the woman countered. "Well, I just did." "Yes, but now that you said it, I will remember you." "I'm pretending to not be slightly disturbed," John mumbled. An airy laugh on Crane's part occurred. "Well, good for you, sir. Are you here for the protest?" John did not want to talk with this woman. He did not want to see her light freckles gracefully sprinkling her face and arms. John wanted absolutely nothing to do with this woman who wore small black camisoles that showed beautiful tattoos of paper cranes. At least that's what he told himself. Instead of saying any of this aloud, John compensated with, "No." "Why are you here?" Patterns, he stuttered. "Patterns? And I'm lonely." "What?" "Ugh, never mind. That's a lovely peace sign you have there." John blushed. Thank you, I did it myself." "I see. I'd best be off." And then the world seemed to stop, or slow down, or at least get quiet and lean in to what Crane said, Or at least that's what John thought. "Why don't you stay for the protest, my lonely pattern boy? I'll paint you a peace sign." "What?" he questioned. "Why?" "Because you look like you need to." "I do." "All right." Jane grinned. John stayed at the protest for 2 hours. He laughed and held up signs people gave him. He danced and lost his jacket. He had a peace sign painted on his left unimportant cheek. Only now it seemed a little bit more important. After the protest, John walked to a local cafe with Crane. He did not even know her name, and for once he didn't think of his patterns. That was part of the story that I've been writing. I'd appreciate comments or something. I'm sorry if it's kind of long. There's a lot more that's just like 2.5 pages out of 12. But yeah. Ding!